Here for our weekly podcast episode. We go over all National Football League games. We give you, hopefully, 5 winners for the week, Matt, against the spread. We only do sides here. We might throw a total or prop your way that we like in a given week. Matt, we have just we're 18, 21, and 1. But man, the Texans last weekend fumbling, going into the end zone to cover that game. It seems like every week there is one game that holds us back from a winning week. And I think we're close to stringing together some winning weeks, buddy.
We've got to be. We're due. We've done the right stuff. It feels like it's an injury or a quarterback change or, oh, this one just, the Colts get a crazy fumble recovery, whatever happened last week. But we live life through the windshield, not the rear view on this show, right? So we're here to pick up the pieces and plow forward. We're 2.5 games under 500, not too bad, especially considering we had a stink bomb 0-5 somewhere in there. I guess, do you want to talk quickly about last night and the possibly resurgent Jets before we get into today?
Sure. My take of last night, and for those who missed it, the Jets beat the Texans 21-13, I believe, right? And it could have been 28, right? They dropped a ball heading into the end zone. So poor decision there. I looked at last night, Matt, more as an indictment on the Texans than as a positive for the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
The Texans' offensive line has legit problems, and they have problems at guard, which we knew. But in the Shanahan offense, it really doesn't. It's not a great offense for adjusting protections on third down. It's not built into the offense as well as, let's say, Andy Reid's offense is or other offenses around the NFL. And we see that a lot with Houston, where they're just not on the same page protection wise. And again, it's an issue with some of the just individual players. But this has been a problem. It's a problem in Green Bay, problem last weekend, a problem last night. And so I look at this more as an indictment on the Texans, who are now 6-3 and sort of not needed the win last night, but they really haven't played well in a month. I mean, they haven't played at all. We thought they'd be, it all heading into the season. So I don't think the Jets are like back now. Good win for them, but I look at this indictment on the Texans more than anything else.
Yeah, Texans, they've had such a curious season. They had that win over the Bills that made everyone sort of say like, oh man, like maybe they're one of the best teams. But then the rest of their schedule, some pretty soft wins. Obviously their division, they've beat the Colts twice now. They beat the Bears in week 2 when Caleb was sort of figuring it out. They beat the Jaguars, they beat the Patriots. And then, they lost to Green Bay, like they got smoked by Minnesota. They're kind of this team that I think we all sort of penciled in as a top 5, maybe Super Bowl contender. And obviously, the injuries to the wide receivers that I think have made a huge, huge impact. CJ Stroud, he hasn't had a 300-yard game
No,
in just a month in that win over Buffalo where
but
he played
still,
awesome.
dude, he threw for like what 150-ish last night. He
Yeah,
threw for
191,
96 2 weeks ago. It's not
86.
been
Yep.
good.
Yeah, it's not. And a lot of people talk about him as like a top 5, guy in the league. And, I think he's still got a little room to go. I mean, on the Jets side, huge season motivating victory for them. If they had lost that game, they were just done. Like, I think they would have had to start realistically looking at stripping the team for parts, at the
Yeah.
trade deadline, which happens to be on election day. What a Twitter day that's going to be.
Oh, buddy.
So
I
did I trigger you?
no, I'm not looking forward to Tuesday. I'll put it like that. It's gonna be a late night on the East Coast here, buddy.
Yeah, Tuesday isn't even going to be the end of it. But I think that anyway, like good for them. I'm not like, I agree. I'm not like, wow, the Jets, like great fun game for Garrett Wilson, good for them, but they still have a long way to go before they can even think about a 7 seed or anything like that. But good for them.
I agree. I agree. All right, buddy. Fair warning. I only like 2 games this week. Like really like two
Oh
games.
no.
So we're gonna have to, and I hope you like them too. So we're gonna have to fight our way to find 5 here, which sometimes happens to be a good week. So let's start off with the first game of the week, Matt. What do we got for Sunday morning?
Sunday morning, let's start with the Broncos and the Ravens. The Ravens laying 9.5 to Bo Nix and co. Kind of an interesting one.
Isn't it like 7 now?
It's back up to 9.5. It dipped this morning.
What? Like
Yeah.
it was 7 like an hour ago when I was doing my Visa show with Stormy.
I mean, I'm looking at our Action
Oh,
Network page
I
that I
believe
always
you.
look at. which does surprise me because I did also see it hit sevens, 7.5, I think. I saw an 8 a little bit earlier. So that must have mean that a big sharp group hit the Broncos and then the market corrected. I would imagine that's what happened.
Um, oh, look, I have nothing on this game. I just say this: the Ravens' pass defense
You
has
were
been
so outraged by the line.
well. I was doing radio an hour ago. We covered this game. It was like 7. We talked about it as the line was at 7.
Wow.
Um, um, this is backdoor cover for me for the Broncos. If you take the Broncos in this game, where the Ravens' pass defense has been really bad the last couple of weeks. Matt's been an Achilles heel for them. And look, that being said, Kyle Hamilton catches a pass. Really, it's not a pass, but it's a safety. Catches the ball from Jameis Winston. The Ravens win that game. We're not talking about this at all, right? So, but the Ravens sort of have those moments, right, Matt, where they're not able to close out games. So I'd lean Broncos here, but not a play I'm willing to take for our contest.
Yeah, that's exactly where I am. And it's because I think you're right. I think the market is basically saying they are still pricing the Ravens really high and saying like, yeah, if Rashad Bateman had caught that bomb from Lamar, if Kyle Hamilton had caught that pick, if X, Y, and Z had happened, if Isaiah Likely's toe had gone in, like all those things, they're still sort of saying like, yeah, they're still the best, maybe the second best team in the league. But I don't know. Denver is just like this weird, scrappy team that just hangs around. I think Derrick Henry's going to go crazy in this game because the Denver pass D is so solid that I think they're just going to recommit to the run, especially Henry had kind of a down game last week. Having said that, can't take it.
No, no
There's going to be a
chance.
bunch of those this week, probably including this one. The Bengals laying 7 to the Raiders. Why are I feel like the Bengals are favored by 7 every week. Like the Bengals suck, but they're favored
Correct.
against everyone every week, and I feel like we never bet against them. Like you can't
They've
hear,
only
but
they've only scored 2 touchdowns per game the last offensive touchdowns the last 3 games. Giants, um, Browns, and then the Eagles. That game was 10-10, and the Bengals got blown out in the second half. Yeah, there's nothing to play here. I can't see us. We're not taking points of the Raiders in this spot. I'll tell you that.
no, that's just going to be a terrible game, and Cincy will win, and everyone will be like, Cincy and the Jets, they're back, and I'm going to have to
They've
get on
lost. The Bengals have
100
beaten
shows
3
next week.
teams. It's like Giants, Panthers, Browns without Jameis Winston.
Yeah, right, exactly. Uh, I mean, we're through these 2 games, and we're going to get through a third here without even an opinion, which is the Titans laying 3.5 to the Patriots.
Yeah, yeah. For the effort of time and you guys' ears and we'll skip this one, Matt. What's there to say about this one?
I mean, take the under. I don't know. I have no idea what to do in that one. Pass. Don't even take the under because then you have to think about it.
Correct.
We'll save you the effort there. Geoff, this isn't getting any better. Next, I've got Saints Panthers. The Panthers are +7. The Saints probably getting Derek Carr back.
Yeah.
If there's a side, I think it's the Saints.
It
The
is
Panthers are horrible, man.
I think the Saints actually are a maybe for us.
Dear God.
We've bet against the Panthers. Excuse me, bet on the Panthers way too much this season, Matt. The Panthers legitimately, they're really bad.
Yeah.
Like, and if Carr comes back, the Saints will be markedly better immediately. Um, there's no like backdoor cover for the Panthers either in this situation. No
No.
one's going to beat this game. I think it's a maybe. It's a maybe. I think we have other games, but like I put it down as a maybe. New Orleans -7 is a maybe. The Panthers are really, really bad guys. There's nothing going for them right now, and they're hurt, and they trade away another wide receiver. Their defense is atrocious. I think the Saints is the side on this one.
Yeah, I mean the Saints, look, they played already. The Saints won 47-10. And then ever since, that was when our pal Bill Simmons compared them to the 99 Rams after 2 weeks. And yesterday in the office, producer Hank, who Dave Otays will remember on this show, was saying, like, I'm so surprised that the Saints suck now. And I was like, why? If you listen to anyone who knows anything about football,
Yes,
you realize they haven't won a game since week 2. Like they suck.
correct,
So
correct.
this does feel like the game where they kind of get it back on track, I guess. And then they have the Falcons the week after, their big rivalry. So this is a bad week if we're even talking about this one, but I do think we have to consider it. Oh man, I don't know, man. That's gonna be a tough one.
It's a maybe. So maybe.
Yeah, it's not like there's any home field advantage there. Okay, Falcons Cowboys. This is an interesting game, even if
Oof.
we don't like it. The Falcons are laying 3. Dallas is getting all the bets and the money. Um, interesting line. This has bounced around this number all week. I don't know if I've seen a 3 yet.
I see some 3.5, by the way. There was
Ooh,
earlier today, some 3.5. Um, all right, Matt. So I like Bijan Robinson, by the way, over 73.5 rushing yards in this game. Dallas's run defense is freaking atrocious, buddy. It is bad. Um, and I I don't love I don't love the Falcons at all for like anything, Matt, but it has to be Falcons or bust here. The Cowboys are dead, man. Like they're dead right now. There's nothing going on with this team, nothing positive. Their two defensive stars went on a podcast and talked about top 10 quarterbacks, didn't even include their own quarterback in the top 10, which is just like a shocking, just throw him in there because he's your teammate, Matt. I think there's a lot of dysfunction in Dallas right now. To me, be Falcons or bust. But I'm not sure I can stomach the Falcons, but it's up to you.
I'm on Dallas, dude. I know I was big on them last week, and that led us
Really?
astray. They almost got back and covered. I mean, I think Atlanta is a little bit of a paper tiger here. I mean, if you look back at who they've beaten, uh, all of their wins, I believe, except Philly, have been in the NFC South. They beat the Bucks twice, once in that crazy overtime game, and then last week they was a much closer game than I realized looking at the final score, and it was basically because the Bucks have, they're playing the practice squad on
Yeah.
offense essentially. But they got blown out at home by the Seahawks. They I don't know. They get a lot of credit for kind of hanging in there with the Chiefs all game. Like, cool. Um, I think that Dallas, this is just one of those times it's like everyone's out on Dallas, right? Like, who believes in them after obviously Micah Parsons' comments? He's right about Jaden Daniels, by the way, top 5 for sure. Definitely love that. But I do think that I just think that everyone's out on Dallas. These two teams are even, if not Dallas being a little bit ahead. I mean, they get Deron Bland back. That's nice. Parsons, there was some hope that maybe he would play this week. It doesn't look like he's going to. But I think these teams are kind of close. And I also think that San Francisco, we just watched Dallas get their ass kicked by San Francisco for 3 quarters and then come all the way back almost. San Francisco's good. Like I misread that last week. Like Debo ended up playing. They obviously like figured something out in the passing game. Dallas's secondary was a mess. I just don't think that was like that bad of a loss. So I think these teams are kind of even, and I don't mind taking the +3.
Back to the Cowboys, huh?
I don't like it, but like
Oh, okay.
find me better options this week.
Well, we got some, but I put in the maybes. In
Yeah.
the maybes.
All
Okay.
right. My
Maybe.
impassioned plea for the team I hate the most. All right. Dolphins, Bills. Bills laying 6. I don't know why this number is so low, but it feels a little bit trappy to me. Are you on Buffalo here, or do you feel like this is a
I think it'd
pass?
be Buffalo or pass. I mean, I guess the idea is the Dolphins, I don't know, their offense could give the Bills defense problems. I think, Matt, is the point here with Hill and with the Bills, maybe injury wise, we talk about their defense all season. But again, I go back to the idea of sort of the Bills typically dominate bad teams at home.
Yeah.
And Dolphins are not very good. And Buffalo -6 would certainly be the play here. I don't think you could back Miami in this spot.
No, I don't think we've seen anything out of Miami that makes me believe in them. Uh, the money has come in on Miami a little bit, and there actually is a 5.5 right now. Uh, it's where am I seeing that? FanDuel.
DraftKings. I mean, excuse
So
me, FanDuel. FanDuel.
I would be pretty interested in the Bills plus -5.5. I
Yeah,
mean, I think Cooper has unlocked something on that offense because
he
it's like
has.
Keon Coleman kind of do his thing.
Coleman's look good,
Um,
man.
and Cook's playing well. Like the Davis has looked good. Like their offense is kind of humming. And this Miami team, everyone's like, well, we can buy low. They looked kind of good. Like they actually didn't look that great. I don't know. So I'm kind of cool.
They
I'm
also
fine
just
with
like they
this
also
number.
losing that game, by the way, to Arizona, like could sort of kill their vibe with the Dolphins. Like the Dolphins had basically one chance to get back in this thing, and that was last weekend. They lost the game. Now they're on
Yeah.
the road against a Buffalo team that's super hot. Um, I think this could be a problem for Miami.
Yeah. I think this is, I mean, look, we're getting a good number here too. So I'm cool with this one.
Okay,
I like
maybe.
that we get a 5.5 and potentially in there.
Yeah.
Um, I I'll curb my enthusiasm with that very strong sounding maybe there. Um, how about the Chargers Browns? You interested in this one? The Browns are
Oh,
home dogs.
oh, buddy, sign me up for some more Jameis Winston.
Okay.
Okay, no, you don't
No, I'm
like
with
it?
it. No, I'm on the same side. I'm just like not ready to enjoy this game at all. It's going to be boring,
Oh, it's
but
gonna be terrible. I just don't really. Here's my grand point of this. If sports books a adjust a point spread by 6 or 7 points when a backup quarterback comes in, so let's say Mahomes is out. No, Mahomes is a bad example. Let's say um, Jordan Love is out this week, which I think he's going to play. That number would move 6 points to Malik Willis, right? So like the Packers would be favored by, let's say it'd be an even spread, and the Lions would be favored by 6, and Malik Willis was announced playing, right? Like this, stick with me here. What if the inverse is true here, where Jameis Winston makes the Browns 6 points better because he is that much better of a quarterback than Deshaun Watson? Is that taken into consideration in this game, Matt? Because why are the Chargers favored on the road in Cleveland if you assume Cleveland has a competent quarterback now? Cleveland has real talent, Matt. They have like really good football players, and they look like a new team last weekend.
they did.
So give me Browns. Give me some Browns plus 1.5 was my best bet on the Bear Bets podcast. I'm riding the Browns again this weekend, buddy.
I like it. I think everything you said, I agree with. I think the Chargers have been one of those teams that people have just kind of like not really paid a ton of attention to, and then
They
you
always
know,
are.
this is yeah, but like this is again, it's like, oh, like look, Lad McConkey, it's such a good game. Like Justin Herbert's so good. It's like, okay, like let's see them go into, the Midwest in November and beat a team with a resurgent offense and a tough
Yeah,
ass defense on the road. Let's see it. I'm ready to be proven wrong, but like let's see Justin Herbert win that game
yeah.
once. I'm with you on
I
Cleveland.
agree. I agree. Yeah.
I don't know why I have such a vendetta against that guy. He's a great quarterback. Uh,
You hate Oregon, that's why. You're getting ready for the Oregon Maryland game next weekend.
yeah, I'm locked in, man. I am so locked in
Did
on
you did
that.
you brag to Gabe about your big win against USC?
I didn't do enough, honestly. I should have done a bit more.
Because Gabe really cares, you don't, which just makes it even more funny.
Yeah, and like Maryland cares way less than USC about football.
Hey, college
Like,
basketball starts on Monday, which means I gotta start fading college basketball plays from the person I fade college basketball plays from, and I cannot wait because said person was like 44% last season.
man, you're going to be rolling in dough after your Senate bets and your fades of a
Look,
particular influencer.
Tuesday is either going to go really well for my bankroll or not. So we'll
Yeah,
see.
yeah, and for other reasons as well.
Well, yeah,
All
of course. Yes.
right, my team against your former team, Commanders Giants, 3.5 road favorites, Commanders. Can't bet on the Giants, can you?
No, you can't.
You can't do it. Can't do it. No signs of life.
No.
They, I mean, the Giants actually are, I don't know. I think the Giants are a better team than people realize. And I think Washington, after that crazy win, could be a little bit flat in this one, in that like dead stadium. Uh, but I don't know. I don't think I can back the
The
Giants.
thing about the Giants too, they don't cover at home, man.
No,
Are we
always a
talking about
problem.
something? Are we talking about something in the Commanders? No, right?
I don't think so.
I don't think so
It's
either.
just kind of a weird spot after that crazy win. And
I
Daniels,
agree.
like, he's still a little bit injured.
Okay,
Um,
over under, let's say 47 videos you watched
over,
of the Hail Mary and reaction.
way over, dude. I gotta say, like, I've in my career as a Washington fan, I've never once legitimately felt that leaving someone 25 seconds as one of our quarterbacks was like too much time. Like the Bears scored, they get the 2 point, and I'm like, all right, we have 25 seconds. Like that's enough time for Daniels. Like he had one timeout. Like that's enough time. And it was, but I've never felt that way. Like you feel like as you watch Chiefs every week, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
there's 13 seconds left on the clock. Like that's enough time. We got this. But with Daniels, I was like, he'll probably figure it out. Like he'll put it in a good position. But The Bears, the Tyreek Stevenson, that guy who was taunting the fans, like that is just like an all-time, it's just an all-time blunder. And
It'll live with him forever, the rest of
it
his career.
it will be the only thing he's remembered for, unfortunately for
Yeah.
him. I think tell me that I'm crazy here. I feel like that's something that you got to maybe consider firing your coach for. Like if you have a kind of culture where that could happen, like imagine
Absolutely.
that happening on a Kansas City team.
Would
Imagine
never
that
happen.
happening on a Belichick team.
Never.
Imagine
No.
that happening on Dan Quinn's sideline. It
No.
would
You're
never
exactly right.
happen.
No,
It's one of it's
you're correct.
crazy to me.
You're exactly right.
So, well, interesting.
You're exactly right. If the reason if Eberflus is fired, which I think it's going to happen, it's going to be because of that. Absolutely. And the play before that too, they allowed a free 15 yards for Washington to get.
Yeah.
Was
Left it
that the
wide open
best? Was that the best Commanders play since RG3's touchdown run?
when you were there on the
Yeah, it
Vikings.
was the Vikings.
I think probably better than that.
But that was like the last play you felt hope as a
Yeah.
fan.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was it.
Dan Quinn, Coach of the Year, is going to win it, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think he's got to be the winner if it's today.
Oh, absolutely, by far. And the defense is getting better too. Like the Commanders, I think we joked about like if they're serious, they don't win a Super Bowl this season, but like they're legitimately good. Like they're a good football team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's not to me, it's funny. It's like in the beginning of the season, everyone's like, Dallas's defense is going to take a step back. Washington's is going to suck. It's like they can't be both. Like Dan
Well,
Quinn's done an
Washington did get
amazing
rid of
job.
some of their guys, and then some guys got hurt too. Like I get why people thought that about Washington.
Yeah, cut their first round pick from 2 years ago. Just unbelievable what Ron
Oh,
Rivera
the
misses.
list of players they've cut like in the last 5 seasons that they drafted in the first, second round is crazy.
Yeah. Man, I've really enjoyed this Commanders talk. We can do it. We can do it more often. I do think they win this game, but I think it'll be tight. Like these two teams always play each other
Yeah.
tight too. Danny Dimes loves playing them.
Yeah.
The team Washington beat last week, the Bears, they're interesting now. The Cardinals are back to being slight favorites. This is basically a coin flip. It's -1 for the Cards, maybe a 1.5.
So I would lean Arizona here, but the problem with Arizona, Matt, is I don't know what they are.
Yeah.
They won the last 3 games they've won by 1 point, 2 points, 1 point. I think I have that correct. I need a 10-point fourth quarter comeback against the Niners, or second half comeback. They had 9 points, second half comeback against Miami that included a safety. The Dolphins said they beat the Chargers by 2, and the Chargers had 5 field goals in that game. The Bears worry me though. Like I don't think they're a good team. They're kind of a happenstance of their schedule so far. I would probably stay away from this one.
Yeah, me too. They're kind of the same team to me in a weird way, where it's like
Yes.
they have all this talent and it feels like everything should be fine and that either one of them could run away with this, but I don't really trust either of them. Bears either are going to like rally hard after
Yeah.
that loss or they're going to fall apart. Yeah, it's just a stay away. I
Yeah.
don't have a feel there. Okay, Philly, Jacksonville. Philly's laying 7.5. Jacksonville is just like one of the saddest teams in this whole
Yeah.
league. If this was 7, I think I'd be in on Philly, honestly, but this number feels just a little bit out of reach for me.
Yeah. There's no sevens at all. You're right. 7.5 probably skip 7. You play the Eagles. 6.5. You certainly play the Eagles. Um, yeah, I think we just skip it. You're right. But Jacksonville, geez, they're so bad. Mm,
7.5 is so much. I mean, when the
it's
Eagles
too many
win, they
points.
do tend to blow teams out. I mean, they didn't earlier in the
Well, I mean,
season, but
we can choose like you could choose like the Eagles 7.5 or the Chiefs -9. So we could choose one of those favorites later in the show.
we're not taking the Chiefs
I know,
-9.
I know. I want to see your reaction
No
to
chance.
that. To that.
Oh my God, 7.5 is just
No,
it's so
I'll
irresponsible.
just put it down as a maybe. Well, we already have Buffalo as a big favorite. I think we both like, so maybe we'll stick away from 2 of those teams. But all right, let's move to the next one then, because I think this is the Packers game, and um,
Yeah, let's do that.
I can't run the table fast enough to make this wager.
Okay, they're getting +3 against
Yeah,
the Lions. We assume Jordan Love will play. Go ahead.
I mean, okay, look. First of all, we talk about this a lot. Divisional home dog with a good football team is a wager that I want to always make, Matt, in this game. So a couple things to note here. Yeah, the Lions have played great recently, but they've also not played anyone that can sort of punch at their own weight, Matt, and the Packers can. The Packers are eighth in DVOA, like a legitimate good football team. They're fifth on offense and 12th on defense. Like they're really good, Matt. Yeah, the Lions might be one, but this is their first road game of the season outside, the first outdoor game in November. And guess what, guys? Not going to be great weather in Green Bay this weekend because it's November in Green Bay, Wisconsin. So, I this is my favorite wager, second favorite of the weekend. Saturday, it's 58 on Saturday, which is actually pretty nice. There was talk earlier in the week about some rain. It moved to Sunday. The rain moved to, oh, excuse me. They play on Sunday. My bad. I'm thinking about college football. Sunday, 53 degrees, 100% chance of rain.
Yeah.
Like the Packers is the play here, Matt.
100%. Matt LaFleur covers 69% as an underdog, and he's 20 and 15 straight up as an underdog in his coaching career, one of the best in each category. It's 20 and 15 straight up as an underdog. Think about that. They're not favored and they win most of the time. Yeah, I agree. I think the only concern I have, I guess, is obviously, well, apart from whether Jordan Love plays and if he's healthy or not, if he does play, is, the way to sort of the Green Bay has been insane at forcing these turnovers, being so aggressive on defense.
Very true. Yes.
The Lions could just do the thing that we know they're going to do when it gets closer to the end of the season of just handing the ball off 1,000 times.
Yeah.
They could do that. That's the way they win this game. I don't know if Ben Johnson has the patience for that.
Yeah.
And also it sucks betting against the Lions. They can just go crazy, but I do feel like the Packers are the play here. Well, +3 with this coaching staff, I think it's a smart play. So I'm in on it.
I'm in. Let's do it.
All right, we've got one. We've got a few.
We got Brown. I think we actually have 3 right now. But
yeah, Buffalo, Browns, and Packers, and a couple maybes. Okay, well, maybe there's something here. The other 425 game, that was the first one. This one is the Rams at the Seahawks.
Oh
man, did this one move? Now it's basically a pick. I see both. You can get a +1 basically on either side.
We're going to talk about this one, Matt. This is so interesting to me.
Yeah,
this is one of those games. So the last 2 Thursday nights, the Rams, I think, were getting 3 points against the Vikings. Everyone thought that was really a low number. And the Jets were favored against the Texans. And we were like, what's up with that? This is one of those games, Matt, where I don't know why the Seahawks are an underdog. I don't know why the Rams are favored by a point. It might just be a point. I get it. But is Vegas telling us something here, Matt? Are we missing something here? Because I would love to take Seattle, but I feel like the sharps are telling us the Rams are better because Seattle has a real home field advantage. So most places don't. And they're still a favorite in this game. I think Seattle's better, Matt. I would take Seattle.
Huh. I think the Rams are way better.
Really?
I think with Nakua and Cup back.
Well, Puka Nakua did not practice today.
It's McVay said I would bet on him playing or something like that.
Okay.
So I think they're just being precautionary. It was something else. It sounds like he just kind of got banged up. It sounds like he took a weird fall or something. So we've talked a bit about how in the past of some of these teams in the NFC West, there's like a circle.
An ownage, yeah.
Yeah. And Sean McVay he's won 10 of 15 against Seattle. He's done well there for whatever reason. I do think that matters, even though obviously new coaching staff, all that stuff. This was the Rams favored by, I think 2.5 on Wednesday. And so I think the Super Contest line is somewhere around there. So obviously people have agreed with you and the line has gotten pushed towards Seattle. That to me feels really fishy. I don't know which side I want to be on anymore. So I think this is just a stay away. But I've been one of these guys that's just banging the drum that I just don't buy Seattle. I just don't. The problem is the Rams defense is not going to be the one that exposes Seattle quite as much. But it's just kind of strange. Somebody else, I forget who it was saying so wait, the Rams line basically all week was sitting at where the Bills line was. So are the Rams the Bills? I don't know. I don't think so.
Well, I generally agree. So I think we just stay away then, probably.
Yeah. It seems weird. I don't know. I'm blinded by my admiration for McVay, so I'm out.
Okay.
I do have an opinion on this one, Geoff. The Sunday night game, the Vikings are laying 5.5 to the Colts. There is only one side here for me. What's yours?
Well, I don't know anything on this side. There is a 5, by the way, at DraftKings.
Okay, so you're seeing where I'm going, and that's towards Minnesota.
Good. Okay, I was hoping you'd say Minnesota. Okay,
yeah.
Good.
So okay, let's just take a second and think about what's going on in the NFL. 10 days ago, certainly the last time, 2 shows ago for us, the Vikings were undefeated. They were this team where we were talking about Brian Flores as probably the most impactful coordinator on either side of the ball all year. At the same time, there was this like Anthony Richardson conversation. It's like, okay, he's done now. We're going to put in Joe Flacco. And everyone's like, Joe Flacco, he's good. Like, no, Joe Flacco isn't
No.
good. Joe Flacco is competent with an offense that's kind of fun and very underrated and like very, I don't know, fun to watch. But this defense, Minnesota is at an all-time low this season in terms of how they're valued. This was the team that Vegas was on all season. They had these losses, and now everyone's like, they turned into a pumpkin, whatever. Their defense is going to feast on a 38-year-old or 40-year-old quarterback who can't move. Like they're going to absolutely go crazy rushing this guy. I don't know. I think the Vikings with the extended rest, better coach, better defense, better quarterback, better everything. Some injuries on the Colts offensive line, which is a big problem. I just think this is a slam dunk for the Vikings here.
Think about this, Matt. They announced Flacco the starter, and the line barely budged. Like he's not that much better to the team than Anthony Richardson
No,
is,
it's
right?
Joe Flacco. Like
So
he's fine.
I agree. I agree. Vikings off a little bit of a rest, right? Um, licking their wounds a little bit, couple losses in a row. But who they lose to? The Rams on Thursday Night Football, kind of a tough spot, and the Lions.
Yeah.
The Colts, I just think the Colts are not good. I'm with
Yeah,
you. I'm 100% agreeing with you in this game.
the Vikings Lions game, was that an overtime game or was it just a last possession game?
Last
It's
possession
like
game.
we've talked on the show about how playing the Lions is so hard. The following week, it's often a good fade, which maybe we should be taking New England actually if they're playing the Titans. But yeah, it was a tough spot. And then they played this team where Puka Nacua got announced he was playing like 10 seconds before the game. It was a tough spot. So I'm buying
Yeah.
Minnesota. I think they're a slam dunk.
Okay. So we got one more game. We have four, by the way. We didn't think we'd have four. We got four games.
Yeah, we have some
One
good
more game
maybes.
that I don't think we're playing, but let's
No.
talk it through anyways.
Chiefs laying 9 to the Bucks, even 9.5 now on Monday Night Football. Poor Bucks, man. They were such a fun team. I'm sad to see their season kind of turn out like
Yeah.
this.
So again, the issue obviously is that no wide receivers. I like Bucks under 17.5 points in this game. And also Rashad White under his rushing total. The Chiefs have done a great job this season of holding starting running backs under their yardage total, Matt, but you can't play the Chiefs here. So there's just no value in doing that whatsoever.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's circle back. We've got four. Why don't we lay out the four that we feel like we're putting in?
Okay. So the four we're putting in Cleveland plus 1.5, Green Bay plus 3, Buffalo minus 5.5, Minnesota minus 5.
Oh, we got a -5 on that. Let's go. Nice.
Yeah, DraftKings. Yeah.
Perfect.
So the other three we had mostly were New Orleans, who they announced Carr is in, by the way.
Yep.
Dallas and Philly.
I think Philly we have to take out
Okay.
7.5, right?
You make me go back to Dallas, Matt. Is it gonna make me do that?
I'm like, I mean, man, how bad do we think the Panthers are?
The
Like, are
Saints
they basically 7 points worse at home than maybe the fifth worst team in the league?
who are you talking about?
The Saints. Like, if we should lay 7 with the Saints on the
No,
road,
you can't lay 7.
we got to
can you?
take Dallas. Let's just take Dallas.
All right. Dallas plus there's a 3.5 out here.
Really?
Yeah, it's what my thing shows.
Yep, it just moved. I just saw it. 3.5. Done.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll obviously gladly take 3.5 here.
Yeah.
This
3.5 like completely changes my opinion, actually. I think we should definitely take that. We got some good numbers. We don't usually get lucky this time
it's
of the week.
a little bit of juice on the 3.5, but I mean that's so be it. That's it's life sometimes. All right. So Cleveland plus 1.5, Green Bay plus 3, Buffalo minus 5.5, Minnesota minus 5, Dallas plus 3.5. Matthew, any more thoughts about the political gambling market today?
Yeah, I'll just lay out exactly what we talked about before. So if you are a offshore bettor, which we, can't condone or pretend we have no awareness of, somewhere in the middle, the odds by state are favoring Harris in Pennsylvania and Michigan and Wisconsin. If you win those states and hold the other places that she is widely expected to hold, that puts her at 270. And yet she is a plus what, 150 favorite
Right
in
now, about
terms to win the
150.
election.
Yeah, about 150. Yeah.
So that just shows you how square this market is. And
And
if
it,
you are so inclined, you can enjoy it.
she's a slight dog in PA, but that number keeps sort of coming down a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Well, where do you stand today?
oh, I feel the same way. I feel overwhelmed looking at some of this like data basically on what's happened in early voting. But
Yeah,
the thing that's interesting about the early voting, though, it's not, they don't actually tabulate votes, right? It's just who returns what based on your political affiliation.
correct.
So they just say, like, in this state, X amount of votes have come back for a Democrat, X amount of votes come back for a Republican, X amount of votes come back for an independent. And they're saying that if you vote along party lines, this is what the vote would be. But there's no saying whether any side has defected at all, right? Or where the independents break. Is that how I have it? Right? No one's released actual votes. It's just
No, you
the
can't.
party affiliation so far.
Correct. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't release like actual vote totals. I think, look, anyone who's listening to this far into the podcast, like, is probably not one of these people who's like, totally in the dark about what's happening in politics. But I do think that we've had these two really weird elections in a row where the 2021, just like the COVID thing, like
Yeah.
the vote by mail, obviously what happened afterwards. And then before, where it was just like this huge surprise with this candidate who, broke our brains and broke all of our political models and whatever. Like, this one's going to be even weirder because it's going to feel a little bit more normal because we have like, even
Yeah.
though like this unprecedented thing happened where the candidate, the sitting president essentially like handed the reins over.
Yeah.
So it's another weird one. And the thing that always happens, next week we'll have known, maybe we'll know who the next president's going to be.
Well,
It always feels obvious
yeah.
afterwards. We're like, of course, and I think for, right now it's like, well, of course, like women are voting like crazy. Like maybe that's going to be the thing. Or maybe it's going to be like Republicans voted early finally. Like that's the thing. We don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I think that it just, however long it takes PA to count the votes is when we'll find out who wins the election, right? Basically.
Maybe. I don't know. If so, North Carolina is one of those states that drops a big number early, but it takes them forever to certify. So if North Carolina were to come out big for Harris, that would shape the whole night because that drops at what, 7 or 8 Eastern. If that happens, then we're all of a sudden like the whole Trump playbook changes.
It seems, at least based off of the early voting, unlikely she wins North Carolina.
Yeah, but it'll
That's
be
right.
it'll be
That's what, at least
closer
that's
if
what
it's
it seems so
close.
far.
If it's not like, oh man, Trump walked away with this one. If that happens, then Trump gets a lot of momentum in how he handles the rest of the night. If it's like, man, it's close, like can't tell, that would be very interesting.
Yeah. North Carolina is my home state. It's an odd state. We're gonna have a blue governor again, a blue, like blue, lots of blue, and then red president. It's just interesting how the state votes.
Yeah, maybe. Did you vote already?
No, I like to do it on Tuesday. I'll go
Oh, interesting.
probably because my polling place is like literally I could walk to it. It's like 30 seconds away. It's in this church in the front of my neighborhood. And like no one's ever there. I just go like at 10 o'clock on Tuesday morning. No one's there.
Wow.
And the polling, like my wife voted already. The everyone I talked to that voted early said the line was long. I'll just go in the morning and I mean no one's at 10 a.m. Who's voting at 10 a.m. The morning crowd is beaten. You beat the lunch crowd and you're before the dinner crowd, the night crowd, obviously. So I don't know, just walk in and vote and do what I got to do. I like doing
Yeah.
election day. I
That's
voted early.
interesting.
I think I voted early in 16. I did vote early in 16. Um, it's also like this is a gripe of it, but like the early voting place is a library, and it just the parking lot, the canvassers, Matt, and like it's a lot. And this place I go vote at for election day is not. It's just way less intense. It's way more chill and like calm and like there's not 1,000 signs outside and people are trying to canvass and get your and people ask you who you vote, the exit poll stuff, Matt. Like it's just quiet.
Hmm.
You vote, you get it done with, you move along. So that's why I do it on
Exit
Tuesday.
polls. I've lived in, and this, maybe tipping my hand a little bit of who I might have voted for. Uh, but I've
I
only
think,
lived
look,
in,
I think if you're listening to us, you should know who we voted for.
yeah,
Um,
probably. If you're
and
listening in
it
minute 50,
and
yeah.
and if you don't, I don't know. I have plenty of friends who vote for the other side. I'm still friends with them. I think it's weird
Yeah,
if you're not friends with people who vote on the other side. But
100%.
nonetheless, I yes, okay. So you were saying what?
I've never been exit polled. I've never really even been harassed by campaign volunteers. I've been a campaign volunteer a couple of times, but I've never like I've only lived in Maryland, Illinois, New York, and California in my life. So I've never even been in a state where it's like who's going to win the presidential? Like it's all 100% like they call it immediately in all four of my states, which maybe,
Dude, I've
maybe I
gone
should get out
today
more, but you probably
to
get harassed all the time.
buddy, I've gotten one text, one uh two,
Mine are all donate. They're not
three,
or come volunteer.
four.
It's not like come answer our poll.
I've gotten four texts today. One was about that I haven't voted yet, but my wife voted, so go vote. Which is
Wow.
yeah, yeah, that's what it says. Someone in your household already voted, but our records you have not voted yet. Um,
Huh.
I got that one. I got a picture of the vote of the church, the voting place to vote on Tuesday. Like it's right here. It's a picture of it.
Wow.
And then I got a text from um oh, so this is real. I got this text a bunch. Don't hold on to that absentee ballot any longer, Jeffrey. Head to Stand with Crypto Vote Center for return information, whatever that means. Um,
Wow. Oh, so
yeah.
that's going to be like an Elon Trump website, probably.
And then I got a Kamala text, but they always spell my name wrong. They spell with a J every time. So that's always great. It
That's
always feels
funny.
like they're real inviting, like they want my vote.
That's
Um,
so interesting. This is actually like an actual example of a get out the vote operation because clearly
I get four texts a day.
the party, whichever party it was, you didn't mention who, is the one saying like, here is your polling place.
Well, no,
You have not
it
voted
doesn't
yet.
say it doesn't the polling one does not give a party. It doesn't say like who it's
The,
from.
it's not the government, dude. It's a party that
No,
knows
no, I
that.
know, but it says max vote. Who is that? I don't know who that's affiliated with. I can look it up, I guess. I'm assuming it's Democratic, but like max vote, I don't know.
Max vote. Definitely going to be
Oh, it says
interesting.
here it's a spam.
I don't know. We're gonna have to get to the
Oh
bottom of
no,
this.
uh, that's all vote. There's been spam ones called all from a company called All Vote that says you have voted, but you actually haven't.
Yeah, dude, there's a lot going on. So vote.
Yeah. Yeah,
Maybe
everyone
vote
should
for the
vote.
non-asshole, preferably, but please vote.
Okay. When with that one? uh, unlike prominent newspapers in this country, we have given a political endorsement on this podcast. Again, if you listen to
I
this
have.
podcast this is like episode 400, I think. If you listen this much, I think you know our thoughts. So thank you
Yes.
very much for joining us. We're back on Friday, and good luck, everyone. Have a good weekend.
See you, buddy.